We all know that we need to exercise, but there are several problems with this. So in this video, I'd like to give you some strategies and ideas for how we can overcome these problems and put together a quality workout plan that will help us live a long time and maintain our health over the course of our lives. The first problem is that exercise is just really hard. I actually enjoy exercising, but when it comes to the time to actually do it, I just don't really want to. And so because of that, I have to kind of make myself start, and then I have to make myself work hard. And that can be easy if you go to a group class or something like that. I prefer to work out at home, which means I need to push myself. And we've all probably seen Andrew Huberman and Peter Attia's workout schedules, but do we really need to be so demanding? As a full-time teacher, honestly, I don't have the time. The second problem I see is that we don't know what actually to do when we work out. There's plenty of research saying running is great, but also that if we run too much, our knees fall apart and we get other types of problems. If we're practicing a wrong motion, then repetitive motions can make all kinds of bad effects in our body. So running, swimming, biking, things like that, we have to get our form down perfect. Well, there's also plenty of studies saying that we should be doing strength work, but over time that strength work can have the same problems. If we have an unstable joint and then we're loading that joint over and over, well, you're just degrading that joint. And then do we really have to lift weights, or is it possible to do strength work without weights? And then there's HIIT workouts. Those high intensity workouts have been all the rage for a while, but do we really need to be so intense? All of these are just follow-up questions that take us away from actually doing the actions that will move us towards our goals. And above all, how do we do these things on a regular basis and avoid injury? Well, in this video, I want to give a simple set of rules for how we can design and enact a workout that will allow us to live long and healthy lives in both our body and mind. And most of this is informed by Peter Attia's amazing book, Outlive. So let's start with the goal. The goal for me is longevity. It's longevity of health span. I want to not only live above 90, I want to live above 90, and I want to be that 90-year-old that when the toddler falls in the pool, I'm going to dive in and save him. I want to be that 90-year-old that can still fly and travel and do the things I want to do, and I can lift my own bag over my head into the overhead compartment. I want to be that 90-year-old who buys my own groceries and I can walk home with the grocery bags. I want to be a 90-year-old with a dog that's able to walk that dog. Well, if I just gave in to fate, I probably won't be able to do any of those things at 90. And if you give in to fate, you probably won't be able to either. So when we think about that long-term health span, what are the goals of this exercise plan? Well, it has to be simple enough and we have to know what we're doing, so we just step in and do it. All this contemplation of action is only useful if we actually move to take the action. And along with taking that action of working out on a regular basis, we also need the paired action of avoiding injury. Nothing will hold us back from our goals more than an injury. Honestly, for the last weeks, I've been really nursing this wrist injury, and I'm surprised how much it's taken me away from my workout goals. Just because, I go to lift something and my wrist hurts and I know I'm just wearing my wrist out, and so I'd rather figure that problem out and solve it before I go on and degrade my wrist more and hurt my future goals. But it just means my whole routine is disrupted and I'm not able to go achieve my goals the way I normally do. And this is just a wrist. Nothing will hold us back from our goals more than an injury. So step one is we just want to avoid injury while taking action. If this video is interesting, I'd really appreciate it if you hit that like and subscribe. It'll just help me get this out to more people. Now, considering that baseline step of avoiding injury, this really introduces our need to consider warm-ups and cool-downs. I find as I've gotten older, it's so uncommon that I ever see anyone do a warm-up and cool-down outside of maybe in a group class, but we really undervalue these things. They're about avoiding injury and we should be doing them. In terms of a warm-up, I really think it's very easy. The idea is just to warm your body up into the activity you're doing. So consider the activity you're doing, start at very low intensity, and work your way up to the intensity that you plan on working out at. If you're going to be lifting weights, start at really low weights and take 3 to 5 sets to build up to the set weight that you want to be lifting. And if your body feels wrong and those warm-up sets don't feel right, just don't go and do the intense exercise that you'd planned on. Maybe your body's not right for it today. Or if you're gonna go for a run, just take it easy and walk for a bit, maybe walk backwards, do some different movements, make sure your body's ready for that run before you begin picking up the intensity and stepping into the actual run. A warm-up is simply a really low intensity version of exactly the workout that you're gonna be doing. So do that. And for a cool down, I'll give you the easiest cool down in the world. There's a growing body of evidence that supports the fact that after any exercise, we should be spending 5 to 10 minutes just laying down and paying attention to your body. My favorite version of this is kind of a meditative yoga pose called Shavasana. I'll put a link to it in the corner if you want to check it out. But regardless, we should really all be ending every exercise session with 5 to 10 minutes just laying on the ground and letting your body rest. Now, with that baseline nailed, in order to help us avoid injury, the next step is to consider, what does the research say that we need to do in order to live long and healthy lives? And there are 4 things that we need to build within our body. We need maximum heart rate efficiency, that's high intensity heart rate efficiency. We need low intensity heart rate efficiency, or what's commonly called zone 2 work. We need strength, and then we need stability. Let's tackle why looking at one at a time. I believe these first 2, being maximum heart rate efficiency and heart efficiency at a low level like that zone 2, really speak to this broader idea that we really want our heart to be really healthy at lots of different intensity levels. So I don't think it's really just about high and low intensity. I think it's you want your heart to work well no matter what you're doing, which makes total sense. Well, this means a little bit of our time every week should be spent at very high intensity. And this should be driven by your goals. This high intensity workout could be a game that you play if you're into a sport. It could be lifting weights if that's your jam. It could be sprinting. Sprint workouts are great, or hill workouts. All of these are high intensity, and they should be a small portion of our workouts every week. That low intensity workout, or the zone 2 workout, is that workout at that stage where you kind of could have a conversation with people, but you don't really want to. It's like if you're on a treadmill and someone comes up to talk to you, you could give one-word answers, but it kind of like you're breathing just hard enough that you don't really want to talk much. Personally, I really enjoy zone 2 workouts. They're kind of like going for a nice easy bike ride and just looking around at the scenery. It's not so chill. You do have to push a little bit, but you want to keep that heart rate relatively low to where if there was someone else riding their bike with you, you could be having short, small conversations. The literature behind zone 2 workouts is now massive. And what it says is that this should be the majority of our training time every week. Honestly, if you go from having 0 workouts at all to having 3 hours a week of zone 2 training, you've probably increased your longevity massively and your health span as well, because you're just taking care of your heart. Strength is obviously related to longevity when we consider our older selves. One of the really alarming things in the literature is the direct correlation between grip strength and long life. And long life in terms of health span as well. Grip strength is an interesting one, and I think really it's just one metric for overall body strength, but grip strength specifically makes sense because what's terrifying as we get older is falling. Now, we all know falls are a thing as people get older, but you don't really realize how terrible they can be unless you look at the data. I'll give an example that if you fall and have a hip fracture, most people survive a hip fracture and are just fine. But if you actually look at the 1-year mortality rates, they're kind of terrible. 1-year mortality after a hip fracture is somewhere between 1 in 5 and 1 in 3. Now, this means you probably won't die from the hip fracture. You'll survive for a while. But those numbers are huge, 25 to 33% of mortality within a year. Well, this should tell us how deeply terrifying falls are as we get older. So how do we avoid falls when we get older? Well, first of all, lower body strength that helps us stay on our feet. And second of all, upper body strength that helps us catch ourselves when we lose our balance. This only compounds when you consider your older self that probably will have to get up more often than you do now and go to the bathroom in the middle of the night while you're groggy and the lights are off, and if you stumble, this could be a terrifying experience. So it's really important that we consider strength in both the lower and upper body, and really what we're looking for is to be able to move our own body through space comfortably. This means strength and balance are tied together, and some of our strength work, I personally believe, should be precise jumping. This only makes sense that jumping helps us maintain stability. It works on strength and balance. It's literally the anti-fall workout. Now, stability is the most difficult to describe of these 4 characteristics, and I love Peter Attia's metaphor of a track car versus a streetcar. If you consider a super overpowered, crazy big streetcar versus a little tight car that's designed for the track, well, the streetcar almost guaranteed will go much faster in a straight line, but the track car will definitely win in a race. And the reason is that all of the energy produced by the motor in the track car goes through these tight little joints and mechanisms, and that energy is transferred directly to the pavement through the tires. The streetcar is more built for a comfortable ride, so it's kind of like floaty, and a lot of that energy gets lost to that like floaty washy kind of nature. Well, when we're working out, we want our bodies to be the track car. It's every time you're lifting something, you want the energy of that lift to go into the muscles, not into the bones and connective tissue, because the bones and connective tissue will degrade, whereas we want to maintain those muscles. So our goal in stability is to make our body work efficiently. It's to pay attention when you're doing any sort of upper body lifting to the scapula and make sure that it's like solid into the back. It's paying attention to our hips when we do lower body and making sure they're actually flat and level to the ground and not like pulled in some weird direction. It's paying attention to our breath when we do things and actually making sure that we can fill our rib cage and our belly with breath in everything we're doing. It's paying attention to our core when we do things and making sure that our movements are supported by that stable, strong core. And so when you consider these things, stability is about neurological control of our body, and it comes down to putting clean attention into making sure our body is moving exactly the way we want it to. So we have the general goals to pursue of heart health at both high and low intensity, of increasing our strength, and of making sure that we actually control our body and put our energy into the movements we're doing, and that energy doesn't disappear into our joints and connective tissue. But what does all of this look like in a workout plan? I got you. But the goal of describing all of this is that this workout plan is very malleable, and you just have to know these are the aspects that we're trying to balance and maintain over the long term, and whichever ones are weak, those are the things you need to fill in. Whichever things are strong, you need to keep those going. And directly, the type of workouts that we need to balance are going to be cardio workouts at different intensities, they're going to be strength workouts, and they're going to be stability workouts. And for me personally, I like to do yoga for my stability workouts, but if you don't have a really quality yoga teacher, or if you have some serious patterns of movement that are problems, you might need professional help with the stability domain. My workout plan comes down to two simple rules. The first one is take no days off. I stole this personal motto from a hero of mine, Marshawn Lynch, and I think it's perfect. Just take no days off. I mean, the point is, you're gonna fail at some points. So for me, I probably actually get in about 6 workouts a week, but my goal is to take no days off. I'm shooting for all 7. And then my second rule is easy. It's just 2 days cardio, 2 days strength, and 2 days stability. And again, for me, stability is generally yoga. But sometimes I'll use that yoga practice to get into zone 2 as well and really get into my breathing and push myself. And of course, there's strength and balance incorporated in there too. And of course, if I get to the 7th workout, I'll just choose whatever type of workout that I want to do because I got in 7, so good job. The key here for me is the plan's already done. The choices have already been made. So working out is hard, but when I wake up in the morning and I don't want to do it, I already know. My only choice is like, maybe I have the choice today whether I'm going to do strength, cardio, or yoga. And once I've done enough of those workouts, I know about how long they take. So oftentimes that question is already decided. When I look at the time in the morning and I know I only have 30 minutes, well, in 30 minutes, about the only thing I can get in is a quality strength workout. And it's gonna be high intensity because I don't have that much time. If I have over an hour, well, maybe I'll go for a run and get in some zone 2. If I've got a little under an hour, maybe that's about the right amount of time for my yoga session this morning. But that way, my decisions are made. And when workout is hard and I don't wanna make that choice, I already have the brute work done. So I just choose and go. Also, if the timing works out, I've already chosen which day of the week I'm gonna do which workout. So I know already, on Monday I'm gonna do yoga, Tuesday I'm gonna do cardio, Wednesday I'm gonna do strength, and so on and so forth. Saturday I'll usually do multiple components, maybe cardio and strength, for example. But that way the decisions are already made. All I have to do is look at the time and decide, do I have time to do the workout that I'm gonna do? Or if not, switch it up and do some other workout. As a last note, no event is worth an injury. So you gotta watch yourself. Make sure you warm up and cool down. And if your body feels off, then drop the intensity of your workout and just don't go full. And then the cool down feels so good, but after every workout, make sure you spend 5 or 10 minutes just laying on the ground. And if you're interested in what else we could do to live long, powerful lives, check out this video. Stoic Yogi out.